It's a tough time being a truck driver. I ain't gonna lie to you. I just heard some news. A trucking company called LTI Services just completely shut down. 250 trucks, about 300 trailers, just completely shut down out of nowhere. Now, obviously, 250 drivers are gonna be out of a job. They need to scramble to look for a job. But here's the thing is, when I was looking at it, reading the article, I was telling myself, why didn't they downsize, right? Why just completely shut down? Obviously, we understand they're losing money, but there are other alternatives where you don't need to shut down. You just downsize. You know, instead of having 250 trucks, maybe have 50 trucks. It's manageable. But to completely shut down operations, obviously we only know from the outside, me reading the article, but man, 250 drivers out of nowhere got a message saying the company's shutting down completely. They're gonna get them home some way, somehow. But obviously, easier said than done. If these drivers are, God knows where they're at, trying to get them back. It's unfortunate, sad situation. It's a tough time to be a semi-truck driver right now, man. God bless.
They laid them off for a reason. They closed down the company for a reason. They're not making money. The volume is going down. The tariffs are destroying their profits, and they're not getting as many loads to remain profitable and keep the company alive. And it's very unfortunate to see that so many truckers are going through this. There's a ton of truckers out here, and I got this in this video right here. You'll see it later on, but they're starting to give up. They literally are saying like, listen, this isn't even worth it. I'm not making any money. I'm just sitting right here waiting on a load for hours, and mainly in Seattle, guys. Seattle is going crazy right now. It's blowing my mind to see this. But guys, you got so many truckers who are just like, what am I doing? I'm not making any money. I'm wasting my time right now. And the tariffs are destroying the country, guys. The economy is collapsing like so fast. And honestly, I don't know what to truly expect for these next coming weeks, these next coming months, guys. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think that, like, what do you think it's going to look like within a few weeks or even months right now? Because China is, they're like, we're not sending anything. You got Target and Walmart, all these stores are like panicking right now because they're not even going to get all this freight coming in within these stores. So I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy great content like this. These next videos are going to blow your mind. Let's get to it.
Another worst week for the trucking industry. I'm actually sitting in a Seattle, Washington right now without a load. I don't have no load right now. I dropped my load 8 o'clock in the morning and it's already 1 o'clock that I'm sitting here waiting for the load. A lot of people been asking me, does it gonna get fixed? Is it gonna get better? I have no fucking clue what is gonna happen because day by day it's getting worse and worse. I have no clue. I haven't seen trucking industry like this in the past 10 years. This is the worst year for the trucking industry. Worst year. And when I came to a truck stop, I reserved a shower. There were 23 people in front of me in the line. 23 people. It's been 4 hours I'm waiting for the shower, and there's still 3 people ahead of me. Still. So you can imagine that how many people are sitting at this truck stop without a load. All the truck drivers, we have nothing else to do besides taking shower all day. Pray for everybody. Stay safe on the road.
You've got companies going out of business. You got companies just laying off everybody. UPS just laid off 20,000 workers because of Amazon. Their volume is going down and they're not becoming as profitable as they used to be, guys. The economy is going down and you're seeing a lot of layoffs across the board. And it's very important because families are truly being affected by this. But hey, listen, this is the result of tariffs. And I keep seeing MAGA. They're like, oh, tariffs didn't do this. This is just, the economy is just bad. Like, oh my God, they continue to move the goalposts over and over and over again, and I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of it. Watch this. Watch in the comment section below. There's gonna be one of you in the comment section below every single time. I don't know, it's gonna blow my mind. But listen, at the same time, these truck drivers are really, they're just giving up. They're tired of it. All right, this next video right here, this truck driver been a driver for at least over a decade. He said since like 19 something. So check this out. It's gonna blow your mind here.
90% of the truck drivers voted for Trump. Now they go to the ports and the piers and look for a load to carry, and they find out that half the fucking ships are empty and the other half are being diverted by China to other places. The only fucking thing you'll be hauling is Trump the fuck out of the White House back to Mar-a-Lago.
Hey, this is Coach Tony. I'm out here talking with some of the truckers about President Trump's executive order on English proficiency. Any thoughts on that, brother?
Yeah, yes. My name's Ernest Brown. I'm a trucker. I've been in the business since 1995. At my CDL since 1978. And I just want the truckers to know that this bag I got here, it's trash. Some of these executive orders, that's all they is. It's trash. You guys go to work, do your job, be professional. God will take care of you. Thank you.
All right.
So, and that's the truth, guys. If you guys really think about the new policy that he just came out, if you haven't heard, basically Trump is requiring you to be very, very proficient in English to be a truck driver, guys. And which it kind of makes sense when it comes down to the whole, legal. When it comes down to protection of the citizens, guys, you want the trucker to be able to read road signs. You want the trucker to be able to communicate with different companies. But as a whole, I don't know what the guidelines are for this, guys. What do you think in the comment section below? Because if he's talking about, any kind of people who come within the country can't be a truck driver, I know there's some kind of stipulation behind it. But at the end of the day, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. But these videos are insane and they're blowing my mind here. But I don't know where the country is going to head within the next few weeks, even the next few months.
So everybody's freaking out because our American ports are beginning to run a little dry. But what nobody's telling you is the reason why they're looking dry.
Mightimos, can your murderous intent match up to what fate has in store?
Want to trade Bitcoin, plus oil, plus gold, plus so much more? Let me introduce you.
Because they used to be flooded with Chinese exports. And if our ports here in America are looking dry, could you imagine how the ports in China are looking? Look up the images of all of the ships and all of the cargo containers that are in Shanghai's port alone. You don't have to look at all China. Look at Shanghai ports. Thousands amongst thousands of ships that are disabled because they have nowhere to ship containers to. Tens of thousands of cargo containers that are filled with products that now the Chinese are having to take those items out of the containers to try to salvage some of those goods if possible. But guess what? The United States is still selling our exports. Because unlike China, 18 countries have already come to agreements with the United States on this tariff policy. And we are still working on figuring out all the little details with all of these other countries that are coming in. But how many people, other than maybe South Africa, maybe, have agreed to China's tariffs and to officially trading with China? You may get a few here and there, if that. But everybody that China has gone to has said, we're sorry, we cannot consume as much as America consumes. But on the contrary, other nations are telling us we can make what China makes. So we're still winning.
Well, breaking fucking news. So not only are the last cargo ships arriving to the United States this week that will be carrying cargo that will not be tariffed, because after this, every cargo ship that arrives in the United States will be hit with 145% tariff. Truck drivers across the United States are quitting en masse. Yes, the truck drivers that are legal citizenships who also have legal driver's licenses are quitting en masse and selling their trucks. So not only are we going to be facing a crisis of items coming into the United States, we're also going to be facing a crisis of items being able to be delivered to businesses.
Hey, without truck drivers, I don't know how we...
Call all Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekahak Wadash. Shalom, Lobakarim, Shor Yasharala. Double honors to my apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who were well. Shalom to the hopeful elect and the elect lady and your children. As always, this is only for the house of mourning and for the house of faith. You true, sincere brothers and sisters that truly believe in the testimony of our Lord, which is the spirit of prophecy, man. And as you can see, man, Babylon the Great is done. All right? And we're going to have to stay prayed up, brothers. This thing is going down. Prophecies are being fulfilled. You see, these truck drivers are losing their mind. And once the truck drivers are gone, that's it. That's it. And this is why we keep saying through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, these people are about to learn. A lot of you 2/3, a lot of you proud women, a lot of you proud men with your degrees and your careers, and Babylon the Great is about to fill it, man. And this is all a setup, because once the items and products and your food shelves are more or less empty, and You can't get things done, and the economy start crashing because of these tariffs. Truck drivers ain't coming to your stores near you, and things are not being delivered. This is done. The Lord is destroying Babylon the Great, brothers. Truck drivers are giving up. The truck drivers know everything. You know, you have truck drivers giving their testimony. You know, they've been driving for over 30, 40 years, and they've never seen nothing like this before. Why? Because this is prophecy, man. There's nothing coming in, all right? There's nothing coming in. And I want to show you another video, you know what I'm saying, with one of the CEOs that run these exports and imports in the ports. And he gonna break it down, man. He gonna break it down. Listen to this.
Hey, Jersey, as your governor,
Hold
I'll
on.
actually lower your taxes.
It's a lot good for this.
Yes way.
Yeah, this is going down, bro.
We're kind of at a crux here that we've got to have something.
Let's go back.
Until there is a much greater degree of certainty and a much lower tariff rate than even the baseline that's been put out there.
She said global trade coming to a standstill. Also, another important point, the idea that, oh, this is just really affects China and the U.S. She's like, no, because even that 10% tariff rate on many of the other countries and 25% on Canada and 25% on Mexico, that also greatly impacts trade.
I was last with you all, Lisa. I said global trade's going to slow, economies will follow, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Back in November, so many of us were wringing our hands about 4% inflation. We've just added 10 percentage points to imports coming out of Southeast Asia for our port, and these unbelievable numbers out of China.
That's such a great point. People were melting down over 4% inflation under Joe Biden, and that had more to do with greedflation and the supply chain being messed up because of COVID, but people were furious over that 4% inflation. Well, now what he's saying is, well, you just effectively slapped a 10% tax, at least, on everything. And that's coming from the countries that got the easier tariff rate. So what, you think people aren't going to be furious about that? Oh my God. Oh my God. By the way, here's an idea. What if Trump was just told by everybody, like, yeah, we're collecting the tariffs, but they just didn't? Like, I think it's time to start having conversations about creative solutions, because he doesn't fucking know. Justify that has never been used for universal tariffs ever before. And so this is going to go to court. This is going to get slapped down in court, and of just basically having nobody collect the tariffs, but you tell him, like, because then he thinks, oh, everything's going great. And meanwhile, people are not getting absolutely crushed, and we're not forcing ourselves into an imminent...
See a real decline in dock workers if this goes on.
Yeah, this is the question. So the trucker, we've just added 10 percentage points to imports coming out of Southeast Asia for our port, and these unbelievable numbers out of China.
How much are you going to see a real decline in dock workers if this goes on?
Yeah, this is the question. So the trucker, hauling 4 or 5 containers today, next week, she probably hauls 2 or 3.
You heard what he just said? Today you have 4 or 5 containers. Next week you're going to have 2 containers. So these containers are decreasing, meaning there's nothing coming in, man. And the apostles, the prophets, the men of the Lord have been telling you for years that this place was going down based on prophecy, and none of you gonna want to hear it. None of you took heed of the warnings, man. And now it's here. Now we here. Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai is speaking, man. All right? Ecclesiastes 12:3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened, man. This is where we're heading. The grinders few, no jobs, no economy, no distribution, no importing nor exporting, no products coming to your Walmarts, to your Targets, all right? All right? This is going to affect, it's going to bring a ripple effect to the economy, all right? This is where we're heading at, right? Isaiah 19:7, all the greenery in NLT along the riverbank and the crops, and all the crops along the river will dry up and blow away. The fishermen will lament for lack of work. We've been reading this Isaiah 19 for the past couple of months, man. And we're going to keep reading it because this is where we at. All right? This is where we at. Let's jump down. All right? Let's jump down. Verse 14. The Lord has sent a spirit of foolishness on them, so all their suggestions are wrong. They cause Egypt to stagger like a drunk in his vomit. There is nothing Egypt can do. All are helpless, the head and the tail, the noble palm branch, and the lowly reed. Verse 15, KJV, neither should there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And we looked up this word work last week. Let's look it up again. Remember, it goes into business, product. All right? Business, product, deed, work, done, achievement, business, products, business, product. And this is where we at, man. All right? And this is all ordained by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, man. This is where we're heading at, man. Listen
Dock
up to
workers are
this.
no longer going to see overtime and double shifts. They're going to probably work less than a traditional work week, starting right off the bat. Every 4 containers mean a job. So when we start dialing this back, it's less job opportunity.
That's another super important point. This has cascading impacts on everybody in the economy. Dock workers going to get laid off. Truckers going to get laid off. The ones who stay on don't make nearly as much money because they're not moving as much cargo. And then from there, it's a ripple effect through every single industry, right? Here's one. Crystal brought this up to me the other day, that apparently, I think, what is it, Temu? I think it's Temu or Shein. I think it was Temu. That apparently they make up some absurd percentage of the Google ads, that the Google ad money that's spent, and I forget the number she said. It was like 40%, something like that, like 40%, 50%, somewhere in that realm, which is unbelievable, right? So now they said, we're not doing any more advertising with Google. Okay, boom. Well, there you have it. You guys fund this show from the ground up, so we have our Patreon support, we have our Substack support, but outside of that, I have the default ads on YouTube. That's the exact thing that's going to be hit. So we're looking at could be a 50% reduction in whatever that ad money is, right? And who am I? I'm just some schmuck who runs his mouth on YouTube. But the point is, if doing this even impacts what I do, what I do has nothing to do.
Well, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a ripple domino effect. This is what the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is doing, man. All right? And you women, you Israelites that been wicked, been warned, you about to feel it, man, in the upcoming weeks, months. All right?
With dock workers and global trade in some respect, I'm just an asshole who runs his mouth. But as a direct result of that, even this show will be impacted by it, fucking everything is going to be impacted by it. Everything. Anybody who works in retail is going to be massively impacted by it. The economy is just going to grind to a fucking halt. Massive layoffs are going to happen. At the same time, prices skyrocket. Bro, that is stagflation. That is what...
That's exactly what it is, stagflation. All right, this is when there's no job, the rise of unemployment goes up, and inflation continues. All right, this is where we at right now. Let's go there. Stagflation. All right, is an economic condition characterized by the simultaneous occurrence of high inflation, high unemployment, and stagnant economic growth. And we know damn well this place's debt is not growing. It's just getting worse. We're witnessing the fall of an empire. We're witnessing the fall of the Edomite Empire. Call Allah Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, brothers, man. Let's listen up a little bit more.
What destroyed Jimmy Carter's presidency? And it could be even worse this time because it's all self-inflicted and the tariff rates are ridiculous. They're higher than the average for fucking Smoot-Hawley, which exacerbated the Great Depression.
If we get a deal, it's going to take about a month. Let me walk you through that real quick. About 2 weeks to get the ships repositioned around these major ports, from Qingdao to Shanghai to Xiamen, load up all those containers, and then another 2 weeks to steam across the Pacific to get to us. This is important because now we're talking about spring and summer fashion. So we're kind of at a crux here that we've got to have something pretty quick.
And back to school.
So in other words, even if you were to flip on a dime now where we were to not collect any of the tariffs, right? Spring and summer fashion would be hit. And then the other thing is, there's no indication of a deal because the other countries are telling America to fuck off, because why wouldn't they? They're just going to make deals with each other and ice us out. So, like, yeah, bro, we can have a fucking Christmas with...
Yeah, this place is on its way down. I want to get something real quick. I just thought about a scripture. All right, let's go here. Okay, let's go to let's go to Psalm 62 and 3 real quick. All right, Psalm 62 and 3. How long will you imagine mischief against a man? Ye shall be slain, all of you. As a bowing wall shall you be, and as a tottering fence. All right? And this is what Babylon is. This is symbolic of Babylon. All right? It's a broken down wall. It's on its way to collapse. The economy is going to collapse. Everything's going to collapse. All right? This is where we're headed. This is why we're going to need Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. We're going to have to be prayed up because we're about to go into a very dark time. Jack is trouble. Let's read this in the NLT. So many enemies against one man, all of them trying to kill me. All right, and this is King David, you know, which represents the house of Dawadah. All right, and this is how we feel. Revelation 12 and 12. You're gonna have Esau trying to come down with that great wrath to try to get the men of the Lord. Just as David had enemies, we have our enemies today. Esau, Edom. And Nero is up there. And they're going to come for the men of the Lord. But Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is going to lift up that standard. There's going to be deliverance, miracles, divine intervention. But anyway, this is the point. To them, I'm just a broken down wall or a tottering fence. But that's what it is. When you look at America, it's a broken wall. You know, it's going down. Now, you go to Jeremiah 50 and 32. Let's go there real quick. Jeremiah 50, and all right, bear with me. All right, 32. All right, let me start at 31. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud. See, his emphasis on this. It's calling America the most proud. Said the Lord, the Most High of hosts, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. And you telling me the Lord is not visiting this place? The Lord is visiting the earth. It tells you that in 2nd Ezra, that the Lord shall visit the earth that he made. And he's visiting the earth. And he's bringing in these calamities. These are the beginning of those sorrows that Matthew 24, our Lord Yahushua spoke about. All right? Yeah, he's visiting this place. This is the point, verse 32. And the most proud, America, shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up, and I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about them. That's the destruction ultimately. All right? But this place is stumbling on its way down. Going to that word stumble is kayashah. See? To stagger. Again, to totter. We just read that. To totter. Right there. See? Totter. All right? That's that tottering wall coming down. This place is on its way out of here, brothers. All right?
No presents. We covered the specifics of this the other day, but most toy stores are small and medium-sized businesses. Well, 50% of them will go out of business if the tariffs stay like they are right now. 50% of them. 50%. China makes like some ridiculously high percentage of the toys that we have in this country. Well, if you effectively embargo trade with China, they're not going to be able to get all of the parts up and running and working to move those factories to other countries and then import them from there where they...
We have a story out, it was anecdotal reporting as well. We've heard about China quietly starting to exempt about a quarter of U.S. imports. Are any U.S. importers exempting Chinese tariffs? Is there a way to get around the 145%?
Not really. There may be some exceptions, Anne-Marie, maybe a little bit going north or south of us, but realistically speaking, nobody is out there talking a lot about, hey, I got a better deal coming out of China right now.
See, this is where, look, if this was his first term and he tried to do this, I have no doubt that Steve Mnuchin or Gary Cohn or one of the more responsible people in the regime, they would literally go and say, we're not collecting any tariffs. Don't collect any tariffs. I'm going to tell them that we are. And then everything would be fine.
But this is it, man. You've been living deliciously, man. All right? For a long time. Revelation 18. Let me see. Deliciously. All right. Revelation 18 and 7 and 8. Let's read that. Let's light this up. All right. This is Revelation 18 and 7. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she said in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. You've been living good. Look at NLT. She glorified herself and lived in luxury, man. You know, you damn devils, you Edomites, you've been living your kingdom for a long time. You've been living good. You elites. All right? America had its turn. You know what I'm saying? You had your apple pies. You had your turn. You lived good. Your picket fences, your green lawns, your mansions. You know what I'm saying? Your acres of land and cattle and just living good for a long time, man. You lived deliciously. But now the Lord said, so match it now with torment and sorrow. And that's what you're going to hear. Once the food is start running out, once the products are not coming in, once this place shuts down and people start rebelling, you're going to see sedition. And this is why Trump is setting up all these executive orders, giving the law enforcement extra power, you know, in your urban cities, because they know this is all a setup. They know sedition is coming. They know anarchy is coming. They know rebellion is coming. It tells you that in 2 Ezra 15. Let's get that real quick, man. All right? Let's get that. I'm going to finish out real quick. I got to get back to plantation. All right? Let's get back there. Let's go to 2 Ezra 15 and 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. And we know what the Lord did to ancient Egypt. There was so many different famine of bread, there were diseases, there were plagues, people were dying, there was darkness all over the land of Egypt. You know, you're going to have these power outages that's going to come. You know what I'm saying? We gonna need the Lord. You know, remember ancient Egypt had a thick darkness over that land. You know, and that was the only geographic area, you know, that was judged with that darkness. Every other area out of Egypt, they had their light. You know. But that place, the Lord put a dark cloud around it, man. So the Lord is going to do it again. And when you read in Wisdom of Solomon, it speaks about how terrifying that darkness was. You know, and the Lord is going to do that as before? You telling me we're not going to need Yahweh Hashem Yahushua? That's why we pray to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. The men of the Lord going to be all right. Our children, the elect lady, because we rely on the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. All right? And I will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. Right? Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and the destruction draw nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition, it's an uprising against the government, among men invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, roadblocks, military, martial law. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, man shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbors. Yeah, your best friends, your neighbors, you're going to become enemies. You know, once you realize you're going to have to survive, you're going to have to feed your children, people going to turn into savages. You know, we bring that out often. There's a slogan that's called 9 meals from chaos. Let's get that real quick. 9 meals from anarchy. All right? Well, 9 meals from anarchy, vegetables that brand up. No, that's not what I want. 9 meals from chaos. All right, let's get that. No. Here we go. This is good. What does 9 meals away from anarchy mean? 9 meals away from anarchy is a saying that suggests society is fragile and vulnerable to collapse if food supplies are disrupted. There you go. All right? And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, because what? The lack of bread, and for great tribulations, man. All right? This is where we at. But this place have lived deliciously, man. Let's go into this word. Deliciously through the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua.
Strong's G 4763 Straniao.
Look at this. To live luxuriously. All right? Extremely comfortable. That's where you at. And that's the spell that America has put on the people. They're out here, when we go, you can see the people, they got this sense of comfort. Yeah. Meanwhile, here's rumors of World War III. You know, people, we're listening. They looking at the news, the exports, the imports, but they don't care. In their mind, they're comfortable. They're extremely comfortable, elegant, enjoyable, especially in a way that involves great expense. And you demons, you Americans, and you 2/3, you've been living very comfortable. But the Lord is about to match it up. Verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. That's what the Lord is bringing. Death, mourning, and famine. And she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshua who judges with her. So there you go, man. This is where we at, man. You know, let's listen up a little bit more.
Right. You'd have a back channel to the other countries, say, hey, China.
Well, that's it. You know, that's the point, man. Just wanted to bring this news to you, brothers. Lord willing, you're edified in the spirit. All right, call all Yahweh Shem Yahushai, all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodesh, and double honors to my apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Lord willing, you're edified. Shalom.